Welcome everyone to Not That Media. My name is John, and in today's video I continue my series of videos relating to an upcoming Monopoly Events convention for the Love of Horror, which is to take place in October 2024 in Manchester, UK. What I've been doing in this series of videos is just highlighting the actors and actresses who I'm intending to meet and give a couple of recommendations for newcomers if you're not familiar with their work. So come along with me as today I talk about Adrienne Barbeau. I'm sure, like for so many, Adrienne Barbeau has been a fixture of my horror enjoyment for probably all my life. As far back as I can remember, Adrienne Barbeau has appeared in films that I know and love. I'm going to give you a few, in just a moment, recommendations. I'm not going to talk about them in any detail, but I'm just going to throw them to you. And then I intend to talk about two recommendations that, if you haven't seen, I strongly recommend you do go and see. So Adrienne Barbeau is known for a lot of work in the John Carpenter stratosphere. She first appeared in Someone's Watching Me as Sophie in 1978. That was a secondary character. A woman is being stalked and harassed by an unknown entity, and she befriends the character of Sophie, who is an openly gay character. I've spoken in my John Carpenter video about the positive reinforcement that Adrienne Barbeau brought to this character, because it was neither a joke or a titillation, but check out that video for more on that particular film. She would appear as, well, she wouldn't physically appear, but she would appear as the voice of the computer in John Carpenter's The Thing, just a nice little cameo there. She appeared in The Fog, which I'm about to talk about in much greater detail in a moment, and Escape from New York. So she was a fixture of John Carpenter films from about 1978 to 1982. She also worked with George Romero. She worked on two films as far as I can recall with George Romero, the first being Creepshow, which again I'm going to talk about in a moment, and the second, which is Two Evil Eyes, which was kind of a two film in one anthology, one done by George Romero and another done by Dario Argento. The George Romero one is really good, the Dario Argento one is okay, but Adrienne Barbeau makes an appearance in that. She also worked in one film with Wes Craven, which was the very early DC adaptation of Swamp Thing, and ironically this would not be Adrienne Barbeau's last appearance in the DC universe, because she is known, well, she may not be known, I find it very similar to like Mark Hamill as the Joker, but when I didn't realise that he was the Joker until I was considerably older than when I first started watching it. But Adrienne Barbeau has been a fixture of the Batman animated universe as Catwoman for many years, and again, she another character actress who was present during all my life. One of my all-time favourite DC characters is Batman, superheroes is Batman, and to know that she was present during that whole thing was just a nice little surprise when I sat down to actually do some research into Batman the Animated show. She also makes a number of appearances, because she is a still working actress, in a number of cult and indie horror films. One that I want to highlight now, which I find quite interesting and enjoyable, is a very big anthology movie, which is 2015's Tales of Halloween. She plays the voice of the DJ in that film, which is ironic because in The Fog, which I'll talk about in just a moment, she also plays a DJ, so I'm sure that was some very deliberate casting, but she acts as the narrator, and I strongly recommend that film. John Carpenter's The Fog is a 1980 cult classic, and perhaps criminally underrepresented when it comes to horror films. Adrienne Barbeau plays a fantastically confident brass radio DJ by the name of Stevie Wayne. She's front and center in key events in the film, and although arguably she has more of a secondary storyline in the film, because you've got Janet Leigh, Jamie Lee Curtis, Tom Atkins, to name a few, running around trying to figure out what's going on, she serves physically and metaphorically as almost a lighthouse of the story. Her DJ set is in a lighthouse, so she is able to witness the fog rolling in. She is able to help direct people, move people. So she is a critical part of this film. She also has a really cool, creepy scene towards the beginning where her son, having gone for a little bit of a beach wander, finds a piece of broken wood that has the word Dane on it. No spoilers, but obviously this is part of the mystery. He takes this piece of wood unknowingly to his mum, just thinking he's found something cool on the beach, and when she dismisses it and puts it on the side, she begins her radio show, only for the water to start leaking out of the wood. Some very ghostly activity going on. It starts to spark and even set on fire. A voice speaks talking about 6 will die, and the words Dane actually change as well. So she becomes aware very early on that something is really wrong. She has, as I say, a critical role in this film. She has some really cool action scenes with the ghost later in the film. This is a ghost film, so when I say action film, she's not fighting ghosts, but she gets her share of terror is what I would say, even though she's somewhat separated from the main storyline and and the main cast. This is a really strong recommend. My second recommendation for Adrienne Barbeau is not only a classic, but one of my all-time favourite movies. I watch it many times a year and I never get tired of it. It was a comic book movie long before comic book movies were considered cool, interesting and worth money. I'm talking, of course, of George A. Romero's 1982 Creepshow. Romero and Stephen King joined forces to present a movie designed to share their collective love of the EC comics. In a nutshell, it is 5 tales of terror with a wraparound story that basically involve bad people getting what they deserve. This film is an icon of early 80s fun horror movies. It has got one of the best casts you can ever see. Upcoming actors who would go on to become legends, established actors who were fantastic at that point. The 4th installment of Creepshow is actually many people's favourite, The Crate. In a nutshell, a janitor flipping a coin for the Coke machine loses his coin and unwittingly it rolls under the stairs. When he opens it up to have a look, he finds a mysterious crate that has been presumably sitting there for decades. With the help of a local campus goer and another teacher, he pulls out the box, and when they bust this thing open, assuming it might be full of precious materials or rubies, it actually has an emaciated monster from somewhere. The creature is nicknamed Fluffy outside of the movie. It is never named in the movie, but Fluffy has no story, it has no origin. This is a caged beast that has been sitting in the crate for many decades, presumably happy or presumably just asleep, hibernating. So when they come busting this thing open with crowbars reaching in, they all get exactly what they deserve. The professor survives and runs looking for his best friend Henry, a fellow professor at the college. Henry is a really nice, very respectable man who, when we meet him, he is at a garden party with his wife. His wife, Wilma, played by Adrienne Barbeau, is quite literally the wife from hell. She hates him, he hates her. She will emasculate him, play him down, humiliate him, insult him at every second. His balls are literally in her purse. And as a result, the very henpecked and downtrodden Henry spends a good amount of time fantasizing about the various ways he could murder Wilma in every situation they are in. So there's some fantastic comedy, not only where you see like what's going on in his head, but also when we return to reality and Wilma is A, alive, and B, just chastising him for having his daydreams. So when this professor comes bursting into Henry's home and telling Henry of a fantastical tale of monsters and dead people and a creature on the campus that's going to kill everyone, he has the fantastic idea of drugging his friend, locking him in a room, and then comes up with a concept, an idea which he puts into practice, I'm not going to go any further than this, to bring his wife to the creature and feed his wife to the creature. I'm not going to go any further on that. It's a really good story. It's about 10-15 minutes. Adrienne Barbeau is one of, in every interview and everything I've ever seen, one of the nicest actresses you'll ever see. She's always smiling. She's always talking so positively and complimentary about her cast and everything. This character of Wilma is quite literally a bitch. She is everything you would not want in a wife. Her alcoholism is on another level, and from the making of and the commentaries and the features, there is a fantastic amount of time Adrienne Barbeau puts into representing the alcoholism in Wilma. She is swaying, she is slurring, she is mixing vodka in her milk. She is just a nasty piece of work, but she is fantastic. This is one of those stories where you want something to happen to Wilma, and it's through Adrienne Barbeau's performance that we actually want things to happen to her. A very strong recommend. Not just The Crate, but Creepshow in general. I love Creepshow, and Adrienne Barbeau would also return to the Shudder Creepshow TV show in a one-off appearance. A different character, different storyline completely. So it's really nice to see that Adrienne Barbeau continue to keep her toe in the Creepshow universe, especially now in, very sadly, the post-Romero era of Creepshow, where actually it's nice to know that an actor or an actress would return 30, 40 years later to a franchise that meant a lot to a lot of people. And now Creepshow having this huge resurgence now, it's a really good time to be a Creepshow fan. So I think that's going to do it for this video. Those are just a couple of recommendations for Adrienne Barbeau. The Fog, you cannot go wrong. It is a John Carpenter classic. It has got such a good cast, fantastic effects, genuinely creepy. I think it holds up today. And Creepshow, a fantastic fun time, particularly around the Halloween season. Adrienne Barbeau, along with so many other actors and actresses in that film, present a fantastically fun, highly elevated, slapstick, horrific performance, and she is fantastic in that film. She's one of the highlights of that movie. So 2 definite recommends, and check those out. So if you're enjoying this series, and I hope you are, they're not designed to be deep dives. They're supposed to be, because there's so many people attending for the Love of Horror. At last count, it was over 30, and I myself have got 20 people I'm intending to meet at the convention. There's a lot of people here or there that maybe you haven't seen them before. You don't know who they are. So these videos are just designed to give you that very quick overview, give you a couple of ideas, and hopefully if you get something from it and you watch 1 or 2 of these films and you have a really good time, fantastic. I've done my job as far as I'm concerned. So keep an eye out for more videos. I'm hoping to get them out as quickly as I can. If you have any recommendations or any questions, do put them in the comments or on the Facebook page. I do want to, if there is a requirement or want for them, to do some littler videos around different topics relating to For the Love of Horror. I cannot wait for October, really excited. So with that being said, until the next time, stay scared.
Same old Henry, afraid of your own shadow.